wish upon a star. Makes no difference who you are. Anyone you'd like to hear will come to you. It's a beautiful day in the 100 Acre Wood. We will now explain Winnie the Pooh and all his friends. But we will start with Owl first. Owl is a logical sort of owl whose pompous personality makes him seem as if he knows what he's talking about, but in reality he's usually full of nonsense. Pooh and the others have great respect for Owl's so-called wisdom, as does Owl himself. Owl frequently tells long-winded stories, often about his many relatives and their accomplishments. He can become so wrapped up in his storytelling that he is oblivious to what's happening around him. He can also be a touch impatient at times, but he regards the other inhabitants of the 100 Acre Wood fondly and is always ready to help out his friends. Here's Gopher. Gopher pops up out of the ground whenever there is work to be done. His solution for freeing Pooh Bear from being stuck in Rabbit's doorway is to blast him free. Luckily for Pooh, Gopher loses the job for numerous reasons, not the least of which is his refusal to give an estimate. A folksy, busy handyman type, Gopher is also something of a busybody, popping up in the middle of situations and giving unasked for and often useless advice. Just as quickly as he appears, Gopher usually drops back out of sight down one of his many holes. Because of his large front teeth, Gopher whistles on almost every S in his speech. Hard for me. Here is Winnie the Pooh himself. Pooh is a bear of a little brain and a big tummy. He has a one-track mind when it comes to honey, and he will go to any lengths to get more when he runs out. Pooh and Christopher Robin are great friends who love to spend time together doing nothing. Pooh has a simple sweetness to him that goes beyond the honey stuck to his hands. He is an optimist. Even when things are going wrong, he is still able to see the best in a situation. Luckily for Pooh, he's also rather forgetful, so he often forgets what was wrong to begin with. Pooh lives in a house with the name Mr. Sanders above his door. On April 11, 2006, Pooh received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And Christopher Robin received Pooh on his first birthday. Meet Piglet. It's not easy being a very small animal in a very big wood. Piglet is little enough to be swept away by a leaf and timid enough to be scared by Pooh's story of jaguars. Piglet is one of Pooh's closest friends in the wood. He sometimes stammers when he is frightened and shows incredible enthusiasm for small things, like a visit from a good friend. Although often unsure of himself, Piglet is quite agreeable to suggestions from others. He may be small, but he is all heart. Aw, here's Eeyore. Things are always looking down for Eeyore. With a tail that comes loose and a house that falls down, he is always ready for things to go wrong. Even Eeyore enjoys a good party, though. He proves to be a friend indeed, too, as well as when he tenaciously or stubbornly, as a donkey, looks for a new house for Owl. Eeyore speaks in a glum monotone, as if there is an ever-present rain cloud over his head. Eeyore expects the worst out of every situation and finds himself pleasantly surprised when things turn out for the best. Say hello to Tigger! Tigger surely is one of a kind in the 100 Acre Wood. He's a good bouncing buddy for little Roo, but his springy style bowls over the others. Tigger is always sure of what Tiggers do best, even before he does something. He just as firmly declares that Tiggers hate anything he finds that he cannot do, or is not to his liking. But perhaps the really wonderful thing about Tigger is the bounce he brings to everyone around him. Tigger is shy in front of Kanga, whom he calls Mrs. Kanga, and often irritates the fussy rabbit, but his friends love him all the same. Tigger Tigger greets people with a cheerful hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo and departs with a TTFN, ta-ta for now. He has his own theme song, The Wonderful Thing About Tiggers, and explains the spelling of his name as T-I-double-G-er. That spells Tigger. This is Kanga. Kanga is the mom in residence of the 100 Acre Wood. She keeps a fond eye on her bouncing baby boy, Roo, and thrills Tigger by calling him dear. Tigger respects her greatly, and she is the one friend he doesn't bounce on. Kanga often finds herself offering advice to the other residents of the 100 Acre Wood. Here's Roo. Roo is the baby of the group. Fiercely independent, he doesn't always want all the mothering Kanga has to offer, especially when he's ready to romp with Tigger. But at the end of the day, Roo loves nothing more than to go home and be pampered. Roo is polite with a touch of little boy mischief. His boundless curiosity tends to get him in trouble, but he always learns his lesson. Here is Rabbit. Rabbit is a practical fellow who likes things neat, orderly, and under control. This is especially true of his garden. Rabbit spends much of his time gardening and harvesting his vegetable crop of carrots, pumpkins, and cabbages. No offense, but why is it spelled like that? Rabbit also likes his house tidy and in order, which isn't always easy with friends like Pooh and Tigger. Sometimes Rabbit takes the time to go ice skating on the frozen river or off on an exploration with his friends. As long as Rabbit can organize and be the leader, he's happy to be part of an activity. Though friendly, kind, and a good neighbor, Rabbit feels inside that he is slightly superior to the others, though he would never tell anyone that. He often loses patience with Tigger's bouncing and rambunctious ways. Along with Owl and Gopher, Rabbit is one of the few real animals in the 100 Acre Wood. The others are stuffed. Well, Rabbit looks a tiny bit stuffed to me. And Rabbit's first appearance was in Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree. Here is Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin is a little boy and the owner of the toy versions of Pooh and his friends. Christopher Robin is considered to be very wise, and Pooh and his friends always come to him for help. Whether Eeyore has lost his tail or Pooh is stuck in Rabbit's door, Christopher Robin usually has an idea to solve the problem. When things turn out just right, he's always ready to celebrate with a parade or a party. And this is Lumpy. Lumpy is a little heffalump with a big heart. Although Pooh and his friends initially thought he was a dangerous creature, they soon learned that he was quite kind and harmless. Lumpy's full name is Heffridge Trumpler Brompet Heffalump IV. He's a big fan of honey and bouncing. And those are all of Winnie the Pooh and his friends. Join me next time and we'll go over all the video game characters in the certain video game movie starring a bad guy, Wreck-It Ralph.